You've said that China is the most significant threat. You said that in your confirmation hearings against American national interests. Would you take steps if there is any action by China against Taiwan? Do you see a military confrontation possibly in our future with China?
There's no doubt that China poses the most significant challenge to us of any other country, but it's a complicated one. There are adversarial aspects to the relationship. There's certainly competitive ones, and there's still some cooperative ones too. But whether we're dealing with any of those aspects of the relationship, we have to be able to approach China from a position of strength, not weakness. And that strength, I think, comes from having strong alliances, something China does not have, actually engaging in the world and showing up in these international institutions, because when we pull back, China fills in, and then they're the ones writing the rules and setting the norms of these institutions, standing up for our values when China's challenging them, including in Xinjiang against the Uyghurs or democracy in Hong Kong, making sure that our military is postured so that it can deter Chinese aggression, and investing in our own people so that they can fully compete. But the good news about each of these is that they're fully within our control. And in many ways, the challenge posed by China is as much about some of our own self-inflicted weaknesses as it is about China's emerging strength. But we can address those weaknesses. We can actually build back better in this area too, when it comes to stronger alliances, when it comes to engaging in the world, standing up for our values, investing in our people, making sure our military is properly postured.
Well, with the economy weighing so heavily on many Americans, millions of Americans, should we be lifting the tariffs that were imposed by President Trump on China?
We're reviewing all of that. We have to make sure that anytime we act, the first question we ask ourselves is this advancing the interests of our own people? Is it making them more prosperous? Is it advancing their security? Is it extending their values? That's the first question we have to ask. And so when it comes to something like a tariff, is it doing more harm to us than it is to the country they're being wielded against? That's the question we're asking.
President Trump and Secretary Pompeo referred to the coronavirus as the China virus, the Wuhan virus. Do you think that China needs to be held accountable for not being open about the COVID-19 when it first hit?
There's no doubt that, especially when COVID-19 first hit, but even today, China is falling far short of the mark when it comes to providing the information necessary to the international community, making sure that experts have access to China. All that lack of transparency, that lack of being forthcoming, is a profound problem, and it's one that continues. And so, as we're thinking about both dealing with this pandemic, but also making sure we're in a position to prevent the next one, China has to step up and make sure that it is being transparent, that it is providing information and sharing information, that it is giving access to international experts and inspectors. Its failure to do that is a real problem that we have to address.
Should they pay some price for that?
I think the focus we have to have is both getting full understanding and accountability for what happened, and there's an investigation that's going on right now, but especially making sure we're putting in place measures to prevent a recurrence.
Should the U.S. join Britain in opening its doors to refugees fleeing the political repression in Hong Kong?
I believe we should. We've seen China act egregiously to undermine the very commitments it made during the handover of Hong Kong from Britain. And we see people who are, again, in Hong Kong, standing up for their own rights, the rights that they thought were guaranteed to them. And if they are if they're the victims of repression from Chinese authorities, we should do something to give them haven.